We told you earlier about the Amari Cooper trade. Cooper, most touchdowns that he has two, most offensive touchdowns. Rodney McLeod has two, but so that's gone now. Longtime Browns beat reporter Tony Grossi was asked what could be up next after the Amari Cooper trade.
Tony, do you think now the plan is to keep Watson this year and next year and get some of these rookies on these, rookie contracts?
Yeah.
Is the strip down begun?
Yeah, I think there's another phase of the strip down after the season.
Right.
There's a lot of guys whose contracts are up that aren't going to be back. Some of those 30-year-old defensive linemen, Zadarius Smith, Hurst, Shelby Harris. So I think those guys won't be back, but they still have to shed guys who are under contract because, again, their salary cap, they're over their salary cap next year. There still could be some hard decisions.
And Tim, that, kind of where they're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, this was, the worst case scenario just with what happened with Deshaun Watson, that you would hope that he could be what he was in Houston, but that's not looking like it. And, Amari Cooper being traded away, you wonder if this is the beginning of a fire sale for the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, this team is underperformed. You could argue it's the biggest underperforming team in football right now, 1-5. It's a roster that on paper should not be performing as poorly as it is, but just for whatever reason, I should say for the multitude of reasons that we see on Sundays, it is. So, I mean, who knows what else is going to happen? I mean, you look at overthecap.com right now, they would be over the cap, I believe, even with cap rollovers going into next offseason. So, yeah, there's moves they might have to make. I don't know if this is a roster you can completely strip down and go into another season with just all these questions on the roster and so many young players when you still have guys like Myles Garrett on the roster who I can't imagine you would want to trade just because of how much he means to this football team unless you get a king's ransom and a half to do something like that. But maybe you move on from expiring contracts and something like that to get picks. And this team, I think, because they haven't had a lot of picks in the last three drafts, the fact that Mike Hall Jr. and Cedric Tillman are the only top 75 picks they've had, that Mike Hall Jr. is the only pick they've had in the first two rounds of the last 3 years. And the hit rate on draft picks from the third round on in drafts is so low that there really have not been a lot of valuable picks to make. I think you see what happens when the acquisitions you hope you make, the big name additions, particularly Deshaun Watson, what happens when they don't work out is you feel the loss of those assets much more because you don't have the player coming back on your end that you hope that you would get with the price you paid.